So for this video I am taking on the new Sheoth Palace on Master Difficulty from the Isle of Madness story mode. And as you can see on screen, this is going to be a completely normal game, and that means it's of course not going to. But for this particular encounter, I did just use a normal list. I essentially used a control tribunal list. There will be a deck code in the description. And I'm going to jump right in and we'll play through it. I suspect any list will actually work for this encounter. It does play very much like a normal game. You're just trying to kill your opponent. It's a spell sword opponent with a lot of big creatures and guards, which is why I think Tribunal Control, or any control list with hard removal, is pretty good in this encounter. Now, the thing that you have to take into account, though, is sometimes when you don't draw cards from your own deck. So that's the downside to this quote-unquote completely normal game. You will sometimes draw something like a Vardvark experiment, or you'll draw these cards that don't look like cards. They just tell you how much it costs, and then that's it. And then when you play it, you'll get a random effect. And I'm sure we'll see some of those as the game plays out. In terms of like navigating this, if you're playing an aggro deck, go aggro like you normally would. Hey, look, there's the Vardvark experiment that I was referring to. And if you are playing a control deck like I am, you just do it pretty standard fashion, right? You're going to do your best to take advantage of your resources, get your opponent to draw out, etc., etc. So there's one of the special cards. We just know this costs 3 and it'll do something random when we play it. But for now, we're going to go ahead and actually use Cast into Time there on that 9 health Lawkeeper. Also, it gives us a action in the discard pile for our Iron. But in this case, we're also just going to do this again. We're not going to hit him quite yet because we are not wanting to break that rune. We are playing this again like a control deck, and we don't want to punch him too soon. Oof. We got hit by that wombo combo. Now we could try to figure out what that does, but instead we'll just get back one of these Cast into Times, and I guess we'll save the Vardvark experiment for now. No reason to play it quite yet. Now, in case you're wondering what the opponent's deck list is, it's basically all of the Saints and Dark Seducers and things like that that you would imagine.
Who goes there?
Okay.
I live to serve.
Midnight Sweep is fine. The 3/3 Drain is in this list, for example. Alright, so Vardvark Experiment is now significantly better, because that will allow us to use the Oathman. And we could taunt our opponent, but I actually just misclicked, so let's pretend that didn't happen. We'll play this over here.
The light of the tribunal.
Gain some health back and get a little bit of ramp out of it as well. And let's go ahead and hit this so that this can trade. Set this up to trade over here.
Chimeric spirit of the sky, guide us.
Kill them all.
Speak, citizen.
And there is the initiate. But as I said, we're just kind of slow playing this to get them to run out of cards. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. And we'll poke this as well.
History shall remember this day.
Again, I don't think I want to break a rune quite yet. And then we'll start playing some of our random cards here in a minute. So again, it is a primarily normal game, if you will. Just like the tooltip says. But with some additions. Ice Storm's not half bad. So let's go ahead and see what this gets us first.
You can tell them you
Moon Moth.
I might make a suggestion.
Into a Dremora. That's rather interesting. Now it's interesting because it would appear that that gave us the plot, despite that being the first card that we played. So I'm wondering if this is then transforming and it counts as a second play. How interesting.
We
of the rich adapt and survive.
So let's see what this brings us as well. You'll notice you just kind of pick a lane,
This day
right?
will be mine.
Just
You
kind
will
of
submit to our gods.
creates things. Let's
A few drinks, a few laughs.
actually see if we can get
Glory of
something
lost Almeries.
What could be better?
back. And we got our randomized card back.
Into the fray.
So it does seem that those count as actions as well, which is
For the
worth
Emperor.
noting for the encounter. The enemy deck list does run multiples of the Oculatus agent, so you'll want to keep that in mind
You'll
as you
burn.
do these things. Yeah, let's see what the 7 gives us. That's actually
Mother's
pretty
dog.
fun. And we're gonna wait for this to become unshackled, and then we'll try to take a nice push this next turn for damage.
No quarter.
We're entirely fine with that. And a doppelganger. Okay. Well,
For
let's
old
go ahead.
Almeries.
And as I said, we'll
By
push
your
some damage
orders,
now.
of course.
For my kinsmen.
It's not gonna be quite lethal. Let's go ahead and replace this.
I have the hatred in your heart.
But it's gonna be pretty close. We'll get him down to 2. It's Spell Sword. You're not really worried about burst or reach. So again, once you establish control, you can push damage. You do have Gavel.
You will regret your
Not the end of the world.
heresies. I bring the tribunal's justice.
We're gonna have more than enough left over to deal this 2
I slay
damage.
the unworthy.
And not only will we have more than enough left over, but if we wanted, we could still like doppelganger things. We could play this 8. You know what? For the sake of the video, gang, we'll play the 8 just so you can see what occurs with these things. But anyway, that's it. It's a pretty straightforward encounter. They just give you random cards sometimes to replace your own draws. And as long as you can navigate around that, you're fine. Like I said, played Tribunal Control because they've got a lot of like guards and annoying creatures. I think that having the removal package is helpful against them, and also just having access to hard removal to deal with the uncertainty of the cards that you're going to get from playing, you know, the playing card for. I think that goes a long way as well. So anyway, that's this encounter. If you were struggling, hopefully this helps you. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and until next time, may you walk on warm sands.